take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to share my screen real quick to chat with y'all about induction cooking and kitchen electrification. I know that's kind of a little bit of a through line through a lot of the home tours is people talking about induction cooking and this idea of electrifying in their kitchen. But for some people, this may be a new topic, and the idea of induction cooking or even the word induction might not be something you're familiar with. So I wanted to take some time to explain it and explain the concept of kitchen electrification with everyone, so we have like a good base level of knowledge. So first I'll start with building electrification. Building electrification is the idea that we're taking a building that is powered by gas and electric and transitioning it to be only electric. So this is things like water heating and space heating, clothes drying, and for the purposes of this conversation, cooking. This may be something that people are familiar with, but this leads really well into the idea of kitchen electrification, which is the same thing, but just in a kitchen. And when we think about kitchen electrification, it's the idea that we're taking like things like gas stoves and gas ovens, and we're transitioning them to be all electric through technologies like electric induction ranges, the electric commercial kitchen, which has a wide slew of things that relate to it. And we're thinking also about things like equitable access to these technologies that can be at a cost premium in a lot of cases for people, and policies and programs like rebates and education, kind of like this, that make it more accessible to people, either through just like them knowing what it is and understanding it, but then also matching people with financial incentives that help them make the transition, because a lot of people can't without it. We do this for a number of reasons. So we think about electrifying a kitchen for a number of reasons. I'll get into them in more detail, but the primary four that I like to think about when I think about kitchen electrification is performance, safety, health, and sustainability. So all electric kitchens, in my view, are higher performing, they're safer for us to use, they're healthier for us to live in and to be in, and they're more sustainable because they're all electric and we can power them with renewable energy. Quickly running through kind of the different technologies that are available when it comes to kitchens. We think a lot about the range or the cooktop or the stove, whatever word you use to describe that cooking surface that you put a pan on and you hit go and you make the most delicious food you've ever eaten in your entire life. Every single night, of course, not some nights you use the microwave. But there are three options when it comes to a cooktop. There's electric coil or smooth top, which you might be familiar with. It's the hot red coil that we put electricity through, and it heats the coil, which then it heats your cookware indirectly. They're about 70% efficient at getting like the electricity that you put into the appliance into like heat and energy in your food. And when you use electric coil, the only byproducts that you have from that process is the heat that comes off the coil that goes into your kitchen, and any smoke or steam that comes from what you're cooking. The next one that's super familiar to people and what we're talking about here a lot is gas, which is primarily made up of methane, but it has a lot of other ingredients to the cocktail that it is. They work pretty intuitively. It's you light the gas, it produces the flame, and then that flame heats indirectly the pan, which you're cooking your food on. When you combust gas in a kitchen, unlike electric coil, where all you have is heat and smoke from ingredients, you also have a number of other byproducts like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides, I have it written wrong here, formaldehyde, and other things that come from it, like the heat and the smoke from the ingredients of what you're cooking. But the big pieces here are that carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxides, as well as other particulate matter that comes from the burning of the gas itself, are actually pretty harmful to our health. Carbon monoxide obviously is one that people might be familiar with. This can be in high concentrations can lead to pretty adverse health impacts, and nitrogen oxides can reduce lung capacity and lung functioning, in addition to particulate matter, which if you're living in California, you might be familiar with, wildfires and smoke that comes from that, and how outdoor air can impact people who have predisposition for respiratory illnesses. Same thing with the gas stove at much lower concentrations, for example, than like a forest fire. The third technology that people may not be familiar with, but is a big conversation starter when we think about electrification, is induction. I'll get into how induction works more specifically, but Induction compared to these the other two, which is about 70% efficient for electric coil and about 40% for methane gas, is about 85 to 90% efficient, which means that 85 to 90% of the electricity that we're putting into the appliance is being transferred in terms of like real cooking in the heat and like work done in our pan. And when we cook with induction, the only byproduct that we have to think about is the smoke from the ingredients or the steam or whatever it is we're cooking. Because induction cooktops that by themselves are not a heat source, and I can explain why that is. And in terms of what is in the all-electric kitchen, there's a bunch of different pieces. So there's the induction cooktop or electric cooktop. You know, it's not a bad thing. It's just induction is really great, and I'll explain why. Proper ventilation, which plays into this idea of the healthy home, the one that has good indoor air quality with ventilation that's moving things out that we don't want in there and moving things in. Well, hopefully moving nothing in. Hopefully moving clean air into our homes. Things like electric ovens, or in some cases, the electric oven is paired with the cooktop in form of a range, which is just one singular appliance. But then also things like electric small appliances. Maybe it's countertop induction cooktops that you can use portably, or instant pots, or your coffee maker, or whatever it might be. There's lots of different ways to utilize electricity in your kitchen that you may not think about as being part of the whole picture. But the induction cooktop in particular is one that I'll dive into because it's something that's new to a lot of people. Induction cooking, like I said, is different because the cooktop itself is not a heat source. This is a diagram that explains how induction works. And it works by using electricity to create a magnetic field that's about 1 inch off the top of this cooktop and the glass on the top of the cooktop. And that magnetic field connects directly to the pan and connects directly to like the magnetic content in the pan. And it takes all those little molecules in the pan and it just shakes them really, really, really quickly. And all that shaking creates friction, which creates heat directly in the pan. So that's why I say that induction cooktops by themselves are not a heat source. They instead use magnetism to make the pan a heat source. And that's what makes them really energy efficient and also a lot safer, because the cooktop, unlike a gas cooktop or an electric coil, if you touch an induction cooktop, unless you put a pan there, there's no heat and there's no safety risks associated. There's also, like I mentioned, no waste heat that's coming from the cooktop or pollutants from fossil gas combustion that's going into your immediate environment when you're cooking. And this makes one thing that's really helpful is it makes kitchens using induction cheaper to cool and ventilate and more comfortable to work in. I know we're all after Thanksgiving coming up, we're all probably thinking about these big family meals we're going to be cooking. And we all know that when you're cooking for long periods of time, your kitchen gets really, really hot. With induction, much less hot and much more comfortable to work in, which can be really helpful for vulnerable populations who are really sensitive to indoor heat or just heat in general. Some of the benefits that I have alluded to that I'll talk about a little bit more related to the all-electric kitchen are performance, safety, health, and sustainability. So unlike electric coil, which we know is an electric technology that can be powered with renewable energy, but it's not always people's favorite. Induction cooktops and things like combination ovens provide a really different cooking experience. They provide a lot of control, a lot of power, and a lot of convenience. And the fact that induction cooktops can heat water about double the time as gas, and they're extremely responsive. So if you have your cooktop on 10 and you press it to 0 and you're boiling water, immediately you cut off the circuit to that cooktop and cooking stops completely. Unlike an electric coil, which may have a lot of latent heat that continues the cooking process, probably similar to gas, depending if you're cooking on grates. So it's a really, really high performing technology. I'm sure a lot of the people that are doing the home tours can attest to that. The other piece is safety. Because there's no open flame, that means that a lot of that heat that comes off of a flame when you're cooking isn't present. So your handle on your pots aren't getting really hot. The grates or the surrounding of your cooktop isn't getting really hot, and so you have much less opportunity for burns or for catching things on fire. If, for example, like you put your oven mitt too close to the flame. The last piece that I've alluded to as well, related to the indoor air pollutants that come from gas, is health. So an open flame in your kitchen means that you're combusting that gas and you're releasing the carbon monoxide and the formaldehyde and the nitrogen oxides that are associated with it. And when you cook with electricity, you're eliminating that flame and then that source of indoor air pollution, which is going to be healthier for lungs and other parts of our body as well.
You
The
know,
last piece,
I was just going to say, I'm here to do the time check that we're at 10.
sure, great. Yes, last piece is sustainability.
Okay.
Electricity powered with renewable energy can be a really great opportunity to be more sustainable in your home.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Noah. That was great. And thanks for hanging in there with all my kerfuffles there.